Okay, I need to tell you something I'm mildly embarrassed about. Mildly, I've made peace with it. Mostly. It was a Sunday. I was standing in my bedroom and I counted, yes, counted, 6 unopened Amazon boxes on the floor. 6. And the embarrassing part, I could only remember ordering 3 of them. The other 3 were just there, like gifts from past me to present me, except past me had terrible taste and present me had no memory. But here's the real gut punch. I went to check my savings account, and the number staring back at me was $340. $340. I was 29. I was earning $52,000 a year. And I had the financial stability of a vending machine running low on coins. Now, I know what you're thinking. Medical bill? Emergency? Something dramatic? No, I had 2 gym memberships because I forgot to cancel the first one when I signed up for the second one like a complete genius. 4 streaming services, a storage unit costing $85 a month for things I hadn't touched in 2 years. Clothes with the tag still on that. I say this with love. Do not fit anymore. I wasn't living lavishly. I was just leaking, slowly, constantly, everywhere. 6 years of a decent salary. Nothing to show for it except a storage unit of bad decisions. That Sunday, something shifted. I didn't go looking for a side hustle or download another budgeting app I'd abandon in 3 days. I went looking for a completely different way to think about money. And I found it in a country most people wouldn't immediately associate with financial wisdom. Japan. Today, I'm going to walk you through the first 7 of 12 Japanese habits that completely rewired how I handle money. Part 2 drops next week with the rest. Trust me, you'll want those too. Let's get into it. Here's something nobody tells you when you have $340 in your account and a perfectly decent salary. The problem is not your income. I know. Not what you want to hear. We all want to believe that if we just earned a little more, everything would sort itself out. But here's what actually happens when you earn more, without changing anything else. You just upgrade the problem. Bigger flat, nicer car, same empty savings account, just with more zeros going in and straight back out. Your spending expands to fill your income. Every single time. It's not a character flaw. It's physics. Japan figured this out generations ago. And the interesting thing is, the Japanese approach to money isn't loud. It's not a complicated investment strategy or a spreadsheet with 17 tabs. It's quiet, deliberate, built on principles that have survived wars, recessions, and complete cultural transformation. Because they're not tactics, they're a mindset. I'm breaking this into 2 parts. Today, how you see what you own and how you make daily decisions. Next week, how you build the structural foundation underneath everything else. You don't need all 12. You need 2 or 3 that land. Start there. Before we talk budgets, savings rates, or investment accounts, we need to go deeper. We need to talk about how you look at the stuff already in your life. Because most financial damage doesn't happen at the point of purchase. It happens in the weeks before, in a slow drip of manufactured dissatisfaction with things that still work perfectly fine. These first 3 habits are about fixing that before a single new dollar moves. Habit 1. Mottainai. Feel the weight of waste. There's a Japanese word, Mottainai, and it has no direct English translation, which honestly tells you something about the rest of us. Mottainai is the emotional discomfort you feel when something useful is wasted, discarded, undervalued. It's not tidiness. It's a moral response. In Japanese culture, throwing away food you could have eaten or replacing something that still works aren't neutral choices. They carry weight. Compare that to how most of us operate. You buy a rotisserie chicken. You eat 1/4 of it. You order DoorDash for dinner anyway. The chicken slowly becomes a science experiment in the back of your fridge, and 2 weeks later, you throw it out without a second thought. Mottainai would like a word. According to the USDA, the average household wastes 30 to 40% of the food they buy, roughly $1,500 to $2,000 a year, going directly into the bin, not into experiences, not into savings, into landfill. When I actually started paying attention to my waste, I was losing $35 to $40 of food every week. That's $2,000 a year, 6 times what I had in savings. I stopped bulk buying. I started cooking around what I already had. Within 3 months, grocery spending dropped nearly 25%. Same income, just less waste. And Mottainai extends beyond food. It changes everything. You repair instead of replace. You ask, did this purchase actually pay off? If it didn't, why are you making the same purchase again? Habit 2. Wabi-sabi. Find beauty in what's already yours. Your phone has a scratch on it, doesn't it? When did you notice it? And be honest, how quickly did your brain jump to, time for an upgrade? That instinct isn't accidental. It's engineered. The entire consumer economy runs on one thing: your dissatisfaction with things that still function. A scratch on a screen, a scuff on a shoe, a sofa cushion that's slightly flat. None of these mean the item stopped working, but they feel like reasons to replace. Wabi-sabi is the Japanese appreciation of things that are impermanent and incomplete. The table with scratches that tell 10 years of family dinners. The jumper with a small mend that reminds you how long you've loved it. There's a Japanese tradition called kintsugi. Broken pottery is repaired with gold rather than thrown away. The crack doesn't diminish the object. It becomes part of the story. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average person spends $9,500 a year across apparel, furnishings, and electronics, primarily driven by aesthetic dissatisfaction, not functional failure. Aesthetic dissatisfaction. Wabi-sabi reducing that by just 25%. By helping you keep things longer and genuinely appreciate what you own, is $2,375 redirected every year. At 7% over 25 years, that's roughly $160,000. Not from earning more, from needing less new. Habit 3. Mono no aware. Stop chasing novelty that always fades. Think about the last thing you bought that genuinely excited you. A new phone. A pair of shoes. Remember that first week? You loved it. You noticed it constantly. It felt good just to look at it. How does it feel now? Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. Your brain returns to a baseline level of happiness regardless of what just changed. And yet, most of us spend money as though the excitement is permanent. Mono no aware is a Japanese phrase meaning the bittersweet awareness that all things are temporary. In Japan, this creates appreciation for what you have while you have it, rather than urgency to replace it the moment the excitement wears off. Cornell University research found that the happiness from material purchases fades significantly faster than happiness from experiences. Objects habituate. Experiences improve in memory. The weekend trip gets better every time you tell the story. The new laptop becomes invisible within a week. The question Mono no aware asks before every upgrade is simple: do I need this to be better, or do I just need the feeling of something new? Because if it's the second one, and it almost always is, there are much cheaper ways to scratch that itch. Awareness is step 1, but awareness alone doesn't change behavior. And we all know this. We're aware we should exercise. We're aware that the $14 matcha latte is not technically a financial strategy. You need systems. These next 4 habits make the right choice the default, not the heroic exception. Habit 4. The intentional pause, before every purchase. Is a Japanese concept meaning negative space, the deliberate gap between things. In Japanese art and architecture, the empty space is considered just as important as what fills it. Silence between notes is what makes music. Space between words is what makes a sentence breathe. Applied to money, emiya is the pause before the purchase. Picture this. It's 10:52 on a Tuesday night. You're in bed, tired. You've been scrolling for 20 minutes. Something catches your eye. It's on sale. Limited time only. Your thumb is hovering over buy now. That specific moment, late, tired, guard completely down, is when the majority of impulse purchases happen. The platforms you're on were designed by people whose entire job is to turn your Tuesday night exhaustion into a transaction. Ma interrupts that. The practical version: add it to a list. Close the app. Come back in 24 to 48 hours. A 2023 Bankrate survey found that 39% of social media users made an impulse purchase from something they saw while scrolling, and 57% of those people regretted at least one of them. The 24-hour rule alone eliminates the majority of those regrets, not through willpower, which runs out, but through time, which doesn't. Habit 5, Kakebo. Write every purchase by hand. This is the foundation habit, and it's 120 years old. Kakebo, pronounced kakebo, was created in 1904 by Hani Motoko, Japan's first female journalist. Designed for households with almost no financial autonomy. A notebook and a pen, that's the whole system. Here's how it works. At the start of each month, write 4 things by hand. How much is coming in? Fixed expenses, how much you want to save. How much is left to spend freely. Then every day, write down every purchase in one of 4 categories: needs, wants, culture, unexpected. End of month, 3 questions. Did I hit my savings goal? What went well? What would I do differently? It sounds almost too simple. That's exactly why it works. Here's what makes it different from every app on your phone. When you tap your card at checkout, your brain barely registers it. A number flashes, you move on. When you sit down that evening and physically write DoorDash, $44, want, something different happens. Your hand is telling your brain, you chose this. It was a want, not a need, and now you're living with it. That second processing is where behavior actually changes. A 2024 NerdWallet survey found that 22% of Americans say impulse buying has significantly impacted their finances in the past year alone. The average person spent $282 a month, over $3,300 a year, on unplanned purchases. Kakebo doesn't just track that spending, it makes it visible in a way that triggers genuine reckoning. Habit 6. Kaizen. Improve your finances by 1% at a time. Let me describe a person. Every January, this person decides that this year will be different. They're going to cut all their subscriptions, stop eating out completely, save 40% of their income, max out their pension, and start investing. All by February. By March, they're exactly where they started. But now, they also feel like a failure, which is worse. That person is most of us. And it's not a willpower problem. It's a strategy problem. Kaizen is the Japanese philosophy of continuous small improvement. The word literally means change for the better. The principle: you don't overhaul a system in one dramatic move. You improve it by 1%, repeatedly over time. Applied to money, this month, reduce dining out by 10%, not 50. 10. Next month, increase your savings by 1%. Month after, cancel 1 subscription. Renegotiate 1 bill. Swap 1 branded product for generic. Each change is so small, it feels pointless. That's the point. Your brain's threat detection activates when you attempt large changes. It perceives dramatic shifts as danger, which is why dramatic financial overhauls fail. Kaizen moves too slowly to trigger that resistance. Small improvements accumulate quietly until one day, you look up and your savings rate has gone from 4% to 19%, and you genuinely cannot identify the moment it happened. Habit 7. Ikigai. Know what the money is actually for. Here's the question. No spreadsheet, no app, and no savings calculator ever asks, what is this money actually for? Not, I want to be comfortable. Specifically, what life are you building? What does financial freedom actually look like when you close your eyes and picture it? Ikigai translates roughly as reason for being, your purpose, your why. In Japan, it's not a career framework or a productivity trend. It's a guiding philosophy that gives meaning to how you live. Without it, every savings goal feels arbitrary. Every budget feels like punishment. Every impulse purchase feels as valid as every investment contribution, because there's no story connecting your daily decisions to a destination. When you have an ikigai, a genuine, specific answer to what the money is for, everything shifts. Impulse purchases don't just feel expensive, they feel off-path. Saving doesn't feel like sacrifice, it feels like momentum. Your ikigai doesn't need to be poetic, it just needs to be honest. Being present for your kids without money, stress on your chest. Being able to leave a job that's wrong for you without financial panic, forcing you to stay. Retiring early enough that your body still cooperates. Whatever it genuinely is, write it down in one sentence. Put it somewhere. You'll actually see it. I want to take you back to that Sunday afternoon. 6 unopened Amazon boxes. $340 in the bank. 6 years of a decent salary and nothing to show for it. That version of me didn't need a higher salary. A raise wouldn't have fixed anything. I would have just upgraded the problem. What I needed was a different operating system. Not a dramatic overhaul, just 7 small shifts in how I saw and decided. 7 habits practiced quietly in Japan for generations. Because they're not clever. They're true? 7 down, 5 to go. Next week we go into the structural habits, the ones you set up once and let run. Chokin, hara, hachibu, hansei, the habits that make wealth accumulation automatic. Those are the ones that change the actual numbers in my account. If one of these habits just reframed something you've been doing on autopilot, that moment of, oh no, that's been me. Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Subscribe if you want money explained like a real conversation. Not a lecture from someone pretending they always had it figured out. I clearly did not. See you next week.